So we are studying and reflecting on this text that says that text says that knowledge alone can lead us to awakening and realization of our essential nature. So the entire scheme of this master in the first something around 18 or 19 verses, he explains, he summarizes. This is peace, this is happiness, and this is ignorance, and this is suffering. So 18 and 19 verses, he explains clearly what is real self, what is false self, how the real self is superimposed, and how the causal and the subtle bodies are formed. But that does not help us to know and to realize our nature. So I will go back a little. Discernment and dispassion are incomplete. Without discernment and dispassion, knowledge is impossible. Remember this. And without knowledge, discernment and dispassion is incomplete. Without knowledge. Without discernment and dispassion, knowledge is impossible. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of the real self. And without knowledge, discernment and dispassion is incomplete. So what should I do? Knowledge by 4 steps. Continuous listening, learning, reflecting, and practice. Only will help us. Normally what we say, I have understood, this is what the real self. Real self is, what the real self is? It is of the nature of peace and happiness. So what is your state? I'm in stress, I'm suffering. What do you mean? Are you peace? Yes. So what happened to you now? I'm suffering. I have a lot of challenges. I fought with my honey. I want to leave the job. So what is all this? So I did not understand. I did not realize. Are you getting it? So what happens? The first reason is discernment and dispassion. I recognize the defect in my thought process, in my experience, in my knowledge. What it means? I don't find the defect, so I instantly say I don't want to touch the hot plate. Knowledge is complete. Are you clear? No, but I have a lot of stress. Knowledge is not complete. Because my nature is not stress. I keep on touching the hot plate. I keep on touching the hot plate. So keep on touching it. And at the same time, you are claiming that I am the real self. What a great contradiction in life. I believe each one is understanding this. So I wanted to pick up that topic. But why? Why it is there? Why? Compare the example. I don't want to touch the hot plate. I will never touch it. but I touch my stress. I claim that I am in stress. Why? Knowledge is incomplete. Discernment and dispassion is not there. So that's why you are suffering. But why it happens? I'm attached. Why I am attached? There is no dispassion and discernment. I have an emotional dependence. When I am not attached, the moment my mind says I am in stress, there will be a sense of discernment and dispassion. My stress is gone. When? It is just gone. So normally we are too much educated, over educated. This is intellectual exercise you are talking. So intellectual exercise simply means there is no element of discernment and dispassion. You add the element of discernment and dispassion in the very intellectual exercise that we are doing, you become a seeker. Am I becoming complex? It's easy to understand. You all are wise. So what happens, once all discernment and dispassion is there, you are continuously listening and learning, reflecting on, then what happens? Now take the same example. You don't want to touch the hot plate. You don't want to. Enter into stress and anxiety and suffering. You don't want. Simply you don't want. Why? You don't want. You don't have an attachment. You don't have an emotional dependence. It's very clear. No, you do not understand. I carry the burden of my stress on my shoulders all the time. That is the problem. Anyhow, so with that understanding, now go to the metaphor. There is a pure consciousness, the white canvas, and then there is a reflected consciousness, that is the mind. The world is present in the reflected consciousness, in the mind. It is not present in the pure consciousness. You are pure consciousness. I am in stress. Mind, calm down. Don't be crazy. Stress is created by the mind, not by the original consciousness. How come? White canvas is white canvas. You see, the reflected consciousness, the mind has painted a picture. I am an individual. So I realize this reflected consciousness is the original. I recognize unreal as real. Are you getting it? Say yes, even if you don't get it. No problem. Because you all are secret in one way. Obviously, that's why you have been attending the sessions. I told you that superficial clothes. Did you understand that point? That on a painted canvas, picture of Brandy, Vaibhav, Samir, Stephen, Sam, David, Jerry, all are there. So I asked you a question. We are talking of who is a painter. We are just want to understand. So that painter painted on the original canvas or on the virtual canvas. So the answer is that mind created a virtual canvas on which he painted. So that virtual canvas is superimposed on the original consciousness, and that's where the world is created. First 18 verses, we understand the metaphor, and after that, it opens the journey to infinite, all pervading. So we are clear about this. White canvas, pure consciousness. Then we had the causal, innermost self. So we are leaving that innermost self for a while. So we came to the blueprint, the marked canvas. That is our subtle mind, and this subtle mind, a reflected consciousness. It is not the original consciousness. It borrows the consciousness from the pure. It has become the mind, and then this mind says, here is a brandy. It immediately makes a difference. Here I am, there you are. Do you understand? It is because of the fourth stage of this painting. Now, it does not see. It is a reflected consciousness. Reflected consciousness do not exist because it has borrowed it, and that reflected consciousness created a gap between you and me. There you are, here I am. Did you get it? Say yes, please. I've been telling you, say yes, because you are. So you see that has made a difference. So that reflected consciousness says, this is higher consciousness, this is lower consciousness, this is totally unconsciousness. What is that total unconsciousness in the painting? It is mountains, it is the river, it is the non-living beings, it is the element, it is the matter. Then it differentiates between the plants and animals, then it differentiates between individual and individual. And they all are superimposed. They all are superimposed on only one pure consciousness. It means the one becomes many because of the mind. Buddha says the world is created. Mind creates the world. Buddha makes it very clear. They all talk of the same thing. So when I see matter, non-living beings, mind. Matter plus life, plant kingdom, mind. Matter plus life plus consciousness, animal kingdom, mind. Matter plus life plus consciousness plus self-consciousness, mind. What is mind? Reflected consciousness. Why it is reflected consciousness? It has borrowed the consciousness from the pure. It says, I know myself. So here is I, there is you. So it has differentiated, that created one from one to many. One to many. So what the master is saying, you have to apply the discernment and dispassion. I gave the example before. I do not touch the hot plate. Why? I know I have a knowledge, and there is a natural detachment. Why? It burns, it gives me the pain. Now I have a lot of stress. Do you know the nature of the stress? Stress gives you a pain. Still I enter into stress. Still I enter into this stress because I have an emotional dependence. I don't follow the discernment and dispassion. And then many people come and ask me, I've been doing with you for the last 6 months, nothing happened. Nothing will happen. Why anything should happen to you? But we are going little deeper. So once you clearly understand this metaphor, so now let us understand in the verse number 7. So in the verse number 7, because of the reflected consciousness, I find this world of many of living things, of non-living things, of matter, of lower consciousness, of animal consciousness, of higher consciousness, etc., etc., etc. I have given a title of today's lesson, Law of Karma. So that is what we are now understanding. On a painted canvas, the picture of Vaibhav is there with their clothes, but that individuality is unreal. But still, I am talking, I am conscious, I resemble as a pure consciousness. My name in the form in the body, I resemble as pure consciousness, but in fact, there is unreal. It is superficial, it is superimposed. So that reflected consciousness has created an individual. Indivisible means indivisible. Show me where you are indivisible. Is your body indivisible? Is your breath indivisible? Is your mind indivisible? Are your thoughts indivisible? Is your ego indivisible? No. What is indivisible? Pure consciousness. So why you claim that you are an individual? I'm more beautiful than you. I have a lot of stress. At least, you are God gifted. Why these differences? Why? Because of delusion. I have created that sense of delusion in my mind. So I'm suffering. Who is responsible for suffering? You are. None else. Again, what the master is saying, I'm trying to explain the clothes of different people on the painting are unreal but appear real. Reflected consciousness resembles the real self, or pure consciousness is unreal but appear real. Did you understand? Let me repeat it. Clothes of different people on the painting are unreal but appear real. Reflected consciousness resembles the real self, is unreal. It creates an individual in appearance, like Brandy, like Girish, like Stephen, like Sam, like David, like Jerry, like Ashok. And there we miss the discernment, and the moment you miss the discernment, we fall back into delusion. That individual is not there. But due to the ignorance, I take myself as a real. Body-mind complex. I means here body-mind complex. It is taken to be real. But the consciousness is one. So strong is the delusion. that I miss my original consciousness. I miss the pure consciousness. It is superimposed. Now, you have to listen to it again and again and contemplate and reflect. The painted cloth, again I'm using the metaphor, the painted cloth are created at the will of the painter. We have been talking about the painting, 4 stages, and a painter. So now coming the painter. Now, painter. Who is the painter? Such a beautiful metaphor. The painted cloths are created at the will of the painter. Tomorrow, he may change the color, right? He may change the color, design, garment. So what happens is reality fluctuates at the will of the painter. Right? Once you understand this, then the next step. Pay attention. In the same way, the reflected consciousness changes from day to day as its action changes. That painter in me is my own karma, my action. When I say I am an individual, my karma, my action, my behavior, my attitude shaped me, my desire, my effort, and the karma cycle begins, and that is what we say, this is the law of the karma. I am the painter of my individual life. I am an individual because of reflected consciousness. So when I claim that I am an individual, so I have to perform certain karma. So that karma shapes my life. My karma, my behavior, my attitude, my perception, my lack of discernment, my lack of dispassion. Then I say that I am going to touch the hot plate. Why? I am attached to it. So I suffer. Can I make a statement? When you say you are suffering, actually you are touching a hot plate and you are blaming the world outside. I'm holding the hot plate. No, I'm suffering. So the masters of the Eastern wisdom says, come on, sit down. Check. Are you touching the hot plate? We don't realize. We don't become aware. That is known as the ignorance. I am the painter of my individual life. Each individual shaped and painted according to the karma actions accumulated through its actions. The actions are all thought and the words and the deeds performed by an individual. That's how the law of karma is created. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. But that cause and effect is happening on the reflected consciousness, not on the pure consciousness. Are you getting it? Reflected consciousness means, individual. You see that, I am Bill Gates, $127 million. 27 years of loveless life. I don't know whether he will sue me. He cannot sue me. Fact is that. So what happens? A changing individual includes the changing circumstances from day to day, favorable one moment, unfavorable in the next, determined, fashioned by my past impression, where the past impressions are living in the reflected consciousness. That is what the metaphor is saying. I told you, first 18 verses, he summarizes everything. And then he goes step by step deeper, deeper and deeper. So by listening and learning in contemplation and reflection, we reach to the highest state. In a painted canvas, the painter is at liberty. One thing more, and we have to contemplate and reflect. On the painted canvas, the painter is at liberty to paint your clothes with a different design and shapes and colors. I'm an individual, so that painter in that individual has a free will to think, to speak, to do the actions, either in ignorance or knowledge. Do you see that? So the painter in me creates a favorable circumstances, painter in me creates an unfavorable circumstances. So the cause and effect relationship starts, and that is what the law of karma is. But law of karma is happening on the reflected consciousness, not on the pure consciousness. You recognize it, you are free. You recognize it is happening on the reflected consciousness. The way the original painter can change the shape and the design and the color, I can change. I can change. So what is the soul of it? If you say what is the soul, the master is trying to without discernment and dispassion, the knowledge of the self is impossible. Without knowledge, discernment and dispassion is incomplete in the life of a seeker without knowledge. So this master is saying how to receive the knowledge by learning. You should be exposed to the Eastern wisdom. Can anyone think? Think means mind. Mind means reflected consciousness. Clear? Can anyone be exposed without listening and learning that we have a real self? Peace is my essential nature. Did that thought occur to you before learning the Eastern wisdom that peace is my essential nature? Tell me, happiness is your essential nature? Love is your essential nature? Tell me if it has happened to you. If it has happened to you, you are already awakened. You see the importance of learning, importance of being exposed to the teachings of these masters. Our happiness is nothing but the short-term pleasure. Our love was attachment only. Our love was only attachment. So I am attached to you, you leave me, so I have a pain. Think, contemplate. Now the time has come to reflect on this contemplation. And this knowledge, Master says, this knowledge we can receive by 4 steps. You listen and learn. You are exposed to the principles in the form of a thought. Then you contemplate and reflect, followed by the practice. The time comes when the mind is exposed to the knowledge and retained there, say for example, more than 50%, then you don't need to practice. You simply need to understand. Less than 50%, discernment and dispassion is not complete. So I have to continue the journey. There is no God, who blesses us and no, forget about that. Eastern wisdom is very clear about it. So the painter in me creates a favorable, unfavorable condition, and I blame, oh, I have lot of stress because of this. It simply means I am holding the hot plate and say I am in stress. This is what the master is saying. Did you get the feel of it? That I'm holding on to the hot plate and claiming that I have lot of stress in my life. What should I do? So law of karma, applying viveka, that is what the 7th verse is. And the moment you recognize that this law of karma, cause and effect relationship is a happening on the reflected consciousness. You have 10 buckets full of water. The sun is reflecting on all the 10 buckets. And the water is moving. It appears the sun is moving. Sun has nothing to move. Sun is not distorted. Did anything happen to the sun? So the moment when you say, I am in stress, what it means? Reflected sun, not the original sun. But I am the original sun. No, but I am the reflected sun. I am the reflected sun. So cause and effect relationship, individuality is there, law of karma is there in that bucket. Who is that bucket? I am an individual. I'm Stephen, I'm David, I'm Girish, I'm Brandy. So I limited myself. I constricted myself. Fact is that I'm not. That is the entire journey of mindfulness. Yes, close your eyes. We are doing an on practice. You see that mind cannot understand this real self. But still you have to use the mind through the discernment and dispassion. As eyes are closed, individual has closed eyes. When I say you are comfortable, individual is comfortable. Look at it. But why we are using the mind when you say that reflected consciousness is the mind and it is unreal? There is no other option we have. But we are using with discernment and dispassion. That complexity, when we do not understand, then there is a problem. Individuality, then we say self-awareness. Okay, so recognize that this individuality, this so-called self-awareness, means individual awareness, is a reflected consciousness. It can move the way water in the bucket moves. So when it moves, so where I'm moving? I'm moving to a state of comfort by discernment and dispassion. What is that discernment and dispassion? It is a knowledge, it is awareness. Where it is located? It is located inside my mind. Made it very amply clear. So now I see, when I say look at the neck joint, so you look at it. So how do you look at it? Oh, it's a painted on the canvas. It's a fourth stage. It is superimposed. Oh yes. But I'm using the individual awareness. Yes, I'm an individual. So I see now the comfort, sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So where it is happening, where I am experiencing this, when I say I am experiencing in the mind. Oh yeah, all experiences takes place in the mind. You see how you jump by knowledge from the fourth stage, from outside to the third stage. How easy! But if you keep touching the hot plate, then nothing can be done. You don't understand, I have a lot of stress in my life. And you know what statement you make? You do not understand that I have a lot of stress. But the reverse statement is true. You're touching a hot plate. So look at the shoulder joints. Metaphor, fourth stage. You are aware, so you move into the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Mind. What is after that? The space. Space is awareness, and awareness is space. You are already there. But the mind, but I told you, the painter in us says, no, what about that? So you have a thought from the past which has a cause and effect, and then the cycle of cause and effect continues. We are lost into the law of karma. I'm just briefly explaining you, and we will go deeper into that. So the entire body, four stages: experience, sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Third stage. See that? What is after that? There is a space. Space is awareness, and awareness is space. Nothing doing. This is what the discernment is, which results into dispassion, because you have understood the very nature. Your understanding means knowledge. So you have understood the nature what happens to the attachment, touching, holding the hot plate? It drops by itself. You are free. That is what I said, awareness is space and space is awareness. If you make a mistake and ask me how to drop the hot plate from my hand, you are struggling. You are living still at a lower level of ignorance. The mind that created a stress due to emotional dependence, the same mind wants to get rid of it. How it is possible? Power of without discernment and dispassion, I told you. So now, with that power, we see the thoughts are coming. Let it come. Unwelcome thoughts, welcome. Uninvited thoughts, welcome. I'm not dependent on you. So, what happens? That is the true meaning. The thoughts are coming and going. That is the essence of let the thought come and let it go. These thoughts do not come to my mouse or my monitor or my body. It comes to the reflected consciousness, but I'm not touching you. Why? I know your nature. It does not mean that all the thoughts were suppressed. No thoughtlessness is there. No. Thoughts are still coming. But heart plate is still there. But I know what I know. I'm not touching it. I will never touch it. And I don't have a thought of the hot plate in my mind also. Oh, this is what the master is talking about the real self in this verse. So when I am a seeker, it happens. We make a mistake. Correct it. How do you correct it? By knowledge. Hot plate is a thought. That thought says I'm in stress. You are holding it and you discern. When you recognize, oh, I'm in stress, I'm in stress, I'm in stress, and then you loosen it. Thought of the stress is gone and the stress is also gone. Non-seeker, lack of discernment and dispassion. You keep on holding, you keep on blaming, you keep on complaining. J. Krishnamurti, one of the great masters, says, we start living in extraordinary awareness. Any movement, any change experienced and reflected by the mind is not me, can never be me. Struggle cannot be me. Are you getting it? We understood clearly that knowledge is knowledge. I have a wrong knowledge and I have right knowledge. Wrong knowledge is not in fact a knowledge, but still it enters into my mind. So now see that you are aware of the breath. Aware means you know the breath is going in and out. You're not changing the breath. So it means you are in a mode of non-practice. Very good. So you know the breath is going in and out. You know that you feel the sensation inside the nose. You know there is no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath. You know the body is in the state of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. You are a knower. Are you a doer? No. So whatever is happening, you are a knower of that happening. What is happening? Listening is happening. Your ears are open. What is happening? Sensation, comfort, and steadiness is there. What is happening? Breath is going in and out. Happening. We are very clear what's the difference between the happening and doing. And we also feel the sensation inside the nose of the breath. It is happening. I'm least interested in creating any feeling or experience. I am. That is the knower. Knower in the knowledge. So knower also is aware that it is not changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath, neither the body, nor the breath, nor the thoughts. It is simply unattached. Why? I know any change has to do with the mind and the reflected consciousness, so I'm not a part of it. Look at it, what I just said. So then, hence, I'm not touching the hot plate. Body, matter, objects, people, things, fourth stage. Just become aware, I'm aware of that. Simple. At the subtle level, I'm aware of the thought, feeling, sensation, images. What is after that is the space and awareness. And awareness is the space. I'm aware means I'm the knower. Knower has a knowledge. Knower does not inclined to be a doer. You become the doer, lack of discernment and dispassion. So here the knower knows what is real and what is unreal. The very knower by its nature is real. What is known, whatever we are experiencing, unreal. It's a change. Sun reflected in the bucket of water is unreal. No, but what it has to do here? Whatever is changing, you are aware? Yes, that is unreal. I have to simply know. You claim it is real, you are touching a hot plate. Simple. Mind is aware of the knower. The rest is unreal. When I become the doer, then I'm waiting for some result. So I have to make an effort. That is what I explained the painter in the talk. But I'm only a knower. Knower means witness. Witness means neither a doer nor an experiencer. No, but then if I don't experience, no, we are aware of all what is happening. Happening is a part of experience minus experiencer. This master will make us understand, it will define who is a knower, what is known, what exactly is the point of highest dispassion and discernment. This is going to explain each and everything. Discernment and dispassion is incomplete. Calmness not possible. Calmness is just impossible. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences and followed by any question that you have. So, how are you, Stephen?
Good, thank you. The lesson today was very well timed. I woke up this morning basically feeling like I was in a funk, that there was something wrong, I was off. And so I went for a walk and just started thinking, like, what's bothering me, what's going on. And I just, again, felt like I was in the circle of what was going on. And then listening to the start of your lesson, it was an aha moment of I was lacking the complete knowledge. And what I tied the whole thing together was the fact that I'm not in a funk. It's my reflective mind messing with me, thinking that, getting me to be in this funk. And as soon as I realized that during this lesson, it all went away. And I was back in peace and happiness. And it's a great meditation. So.
What a beautiful explanation. I think that should teach us, all of us, a good lesson. How are you, David and Jerry? You were touching the hot plate, but now you left it. Finished.
I really enjoyed the preamble, and it really resonated with me today. And I found myself in the meditation in a long state of awareness. I was aware of your words, but not attached. I was aware of my thoughts, but not attached. So I was just in this aware bliss with no attachment.
Beautiful. That's another wonderful explanation. Yeah, not attached. I'm not touching a hot plate. So I made it very rough in order to understand it. But that's beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
I'm good, thank you, sir. It went by very fast. I was surprised when you started chanting. And I love the whole lesson in the regard that the name that we're called is not us. It's just a label that's put on us. This body is just a temporary, instrument that we're in, but just the consciousness is in. And the mind uses the consciousness, but the mind isn't the consciousness. And so just separating all of that and continuing, like Stephen, to say, if the mind is working on us, then we just have to work on the mind.
We have to work on the mind. Beautiful. And you made one good statement. Mind uses as long as the mind is using the consciousness, it will definitely put our hand on the hot plate. For the sake of expression, let the consciousness use the mind, you are free. Yes, sir, Ashok? You said yes, thank you. So,
Yes, sir.
what is yes, sir?
Sir, peace and quiet. Very
Peace
good.
and quiet. Okay, very good. How are you, Brandy?
I'm good. My hot plate was some discomfort in my body this morning, and I found it pretty remarkable during the meditation that when I would have that shift from stage 4 and even 3, the physical discomfort wasn't there. So that's to me points to how delusional it is, right? I mean, if I'm like still sitting here in my body for now and I don't feel the pain, then where is it?
Where it is, yes. Yes. So our discernment in the mind asks where it is. So we have already separated real from the unreal. What unreal appears to be true but not true. That is the answer if we ask the question. It appears, pain appears true, but it is not. Are you ever?
Some, it was quite peaceful, relaxed.
Very good. Wonderful. How are you, Sam?
Good. Found a very quiet, blank space. Didn't think the experience was going to end, but it did.
Very good.
So it's been reminding me that all of the experiences that we have a beginning and an end. Painful, pleasurable. They have a beginning and an end.
Did you have any hot plate in your mind?
Not that I know of.
That's good. That's good. That's wonderful. That is what, we need to simply separate it. But there is only one thing, and this master is going to explain at a later stage. He says that you are experiencing pain and you are looking at the pain. You are experiencing the pain, you are looking at the pain. So the discernment says that pain is in the body, experienced by the mind, is reflected consciousness. It is not the original. That created an individual who is experiencing the pain, and the individual does not exist. Does it make sense? So you are free. So even we experience I won't use the word we experience. Pain is there, but you are detached. Hot plate is there. If you don't touch the hot plate, it does not mean the hot plate is not hot. It's all a reflection. It's all an understanding that we are going to understand. So are you, Sami?
Sir, it was more of a kind of, means rather than meditation, it was a kind of understanding.
Yeah.
Means I was thinking that why I am keep on touching the hot plate and why I am suffering and why, what are the reasons that I go every time and touch it. So it was a kind of, it was a contemplation going on in my mind. That why I am repeating, why all these things repeat in my life, why I am not able to understand that this is happening again.
And that is what we discussed, that without discernment and dispassion, the knowledge is incomplete. Calmness is not there. So one thing that you mentioned, contemplation and reflection, that leads to the knowledge. Every meditation results into the knowledge of the real self. The entire Eastern wisdom says self-knowledge, not the self of which we are aware, the real self. Because there is a lack of understanding, because there is a level of ignorance, that is why we need to practice. So that is all for today. Thank you very much. We will
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Namaste.
No hot plate, please.
What?
Hot plate.
Oh.